morning again. If you've been with us over the last 4 or 5 years, this morning, Tuesday morning, is the state of the PRCA, or the PRCA by the numbers. So we'll give you the information that we do every year, and then when we're done, we will take some questions from the audience. So I'd like to start off with introducing these fine gentlemen that are up here on the stage. This is your board of directors and your event reps. And we'll start down there at that end with Mr. John Barnes, Hal Burns, Fred Betcher, Keith Martin, our chairman, Troy Weekly, J.P. Wickett, Heath Ford, Spud Duvall, Mike Johnson, Rusty Allen, Garrett Tanazi. Brett Tanazi, your vice chair of the board, is not here today. He will be in later this week. You know, most of you know what my corporate background is and know where I came from. When I worked in corporate America, I worked in a building that was 5 stories tall and a prominent building in the area that I lived. It was a massive, full city block square. And when people found out what I did and where I worked, they would lots of times ask me, how many people work in that building? And my typical response was, after several years, there are about half of them. That doesn't apply to the staff at the PRCA. If you're a member of the staff of the PRCA, would you please stand to be recognized? These are the people that work every day at 101 Pro Rodeo Drive. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors that are here. I think the majority of the audience is rodeo committees, and you know how important sponsors are at any level, whether it be at the committee level or certainly at the national level for us. So if you're a sponsor of the PRCA, and I know lots of them had things to do today and had meetings, but if you're a sponsor of the PRCA, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Without you, we don't do what we do. We also don't do what we do without you all in this audience. The committees are a very, very important lifeline to the PRCA and the sport of pro rodeo. So I'm not going to ask you to stand up, but I'll give you a hand. So thank you for all that you do. And of course, the members of our association, we thank you for all that you do in that manner. All right, let's get to the numbers. As you can see from the first rodeo count, 2011, 572 PRCA sanctioned rodeos. In 2013, 572 in 2013, 611. That is a 39 rodeo increase from 2011 to 2013. If you look at the total payout from $38 million to almost $40 million, obviously with the increase in rodeos, that would be expected. But if you look at the total contestant numbers, you'll see that last year we were up here so proud of ourselves that we had one more member than we had the year before. This year, as you can see, we're down a few, about 67 members totally. These are competitive members. That is a concern for everybody that's sitting on this stage. If you take the rodeo count, you have 39 more rodeos than you had 2 years ago, and you look at the count as far as your contestants go, there's something wrong with that picture. We are increasing our number of rodeos, but decreasing our number of contestants. So about 1.3% is the decline in the membership of the competition members. So that is a problem for us, and you are all seeing that problem in some of your rodeos. So it is something that we have discussed and are doing our best to try to figure out where we're going to go with that. At some point in time, and I think it's this administration and certainly this board's feeling, that we need to grow the sport of pro rodeo. But we have to grow all facets of the sport of pro rodeo. To increase the number of rodeos by 39 rodeos and then decrease the number of contestants only adds to some of the problems that the PRCA has. We are aware of them and are working diligently to try to come up with some solutions. If you look at the total entries, last year you can see a big jump in the entries. This year you can see that the entries have remained relatively flat. But 119,000 entries came through the Procom office last year. Total contestant payout, as you'll look and see, this is the Wrangler National Finals. Total contestant payout $6,250,000. Go rounds pay $17,500, and the average pays almost $45,000. You'll notice at the bottom of that there is a footnote on there about the negotiations with the 2015 contract. We are in negotiations, and we are diligently making efforts to make sure that we continue those negotiations. Sometimes they get difficult, and sometimes they're hard on everybody. But we are diligently working with our partners at LBE to put a contract together. So just so you know. The Wrangler $1 Million Tour, as you can see, a couple of rodeos lost in the gold category and one lost in the silver category. We continue the $1 Million Tour. We've got some interesting things that we will talk about at the press conference on Tuesday, having to do with television and web streaming and some of the things that will be of interest to the tour groups. And we'll talk about a new piece here as we go along today. $1 million payout. Obviously, you can see at the bottom there's some decline in it because of the loss of rodeos. I think the $1 Million Tour certainly has a place, and we appreciate those rodeos that have participated with us and stuck with the tour. The member bonus, which we put into place last year, came out of some of the dollars that were put into the tour and the playoffs in Omaha and Puyallup. All-American Series has been in place, as you all know. Out of the 611 rodeos that we had last year, 542 of them fit into the All-American. The All-American is $30,000 or less total payout. So you can see that 450 of our rodeos fit into the 30,000 or less category. The great thing about it is over 600 contestants last year went to 30 rodeos or more in the All-American Series, so that is part of the qualification for the Waco event. Justin Boots Playoff and Championships presented by Wrangler. The Omaha and Puyallup will continue throughout this year, and that has become a great event there, both of those events. So we're very proud of those two events and what they have, their partnership with us is. Ram Circuit Series, 2013 payout for the circuit's $1.4 million. That's the total payout, which includes the committee purse, the entry fees, the $3 money, the PRCA sponsor dollars, and certainly the matching funds. Total sponsor monies paid $47,265. But I think the real important part about this, and when we met with the presidents of the circuits in Oklahoma City this year, we talked specifically about what sponsorship does at the level of the PRCA, and we gave them the promise that we would make best efforts from the properties department to in fact include the circuits in every one of the sponsorship opportunities that we sign going forward. We feel like it's such an important part of our business that we do need to make sure that we are funding or certainly help funding the circuits. Certainly our thanks to RAM for their participation and their investment in the circuit program. The judging program, I think you all know, last year we hired a fellow by the name of Clint Corey. He's a world champion cowboy, and I think you all know too that Clint had a tough year last year, and as he got started with us, he had some personal issues that were very, very difficult on he and his family. I'm going to tell you that he came back after those difficult times and is a strong force with us at the PRCA. We are fortunate to have him. And his judging program is charging forward. I would say, and I think Clint would say this himself, when he did have some of the issues that were going on in his personal life, his pro judges jumped in there and absolutely rolled their sleeves up and helped to make this thing happen. Clint has designed and implemented a new evaluation system to determine the judge's strengths and weaknesses, event by event. I think they're more focused on event judging than ever before. I will say that I think the judges have been, Clint's utilized the judges to really learn the craft that he has and to make sure that we are providing the best service there is. The judging seminars, there are 5 scheduled for 2014. I think he had 4 this last year, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously we appreciate College Rodeo because we use that as a foreground for some of our judges to come up through the ranks. So great job, Clint. Thanks for what you're doing. I'm going to spend some time on this slide. I'll let you read. I'm not going to read every piece of this deal. But what I will tell you is about 18 months ago, I think that's about right. Is Kent here? Perfect. But about 18 months ago, you came on board? This man sat in my office, and it didn't take but 5 or 10 minutes to convince me that he wanted this job at the Hall of Fame. Typically, as you people probably are well aware, Hall of Fames don't make much money. As a matter of fact, if they make money, it's usually some kind of a miracle. In the last 18 months, Kent Stressman has come on board with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association in the Hall of Fame as its director and done a phenomenal job. If you look at the financial page for the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, particularly under the Hall of Fame section, the Hall of Fame will show a profit for, I think, the first time, and I'm not sure it's been 60 years, but I'm pretty sure it's been at least 55. So congratulations to you, Kent. Thank you for all the things that you're doing. If you look and see, the attendance is up, and the number of events that we use the Hall of Fame that ran our facility are up. So again, congratulations, Kent, for a very, very, very good job in 2013, and the pressure's on for 14, buddy. By the way, the gala was wonderful last night. Thank you for that and your staff on that deal. That was a fun evening. PRCA convention. I'll let you kind of read through that. There was a convention there in Oklahoma City during the RNCFR. I think some of you probably attended. It's a little smaller, intimate group. I think that it's done very, very well, and I believe that we will continue to have that. The national convention here, in a meeting yesterday, Gary Williams, obviously from Tucson, told us that the pre-registrations for this were way up, for this convention were way up. So congratulations on that, and thank you for your support. Rodeo Operations, we launched a mobile app last year. It had great success. We won some awards, which is always fun. We highlighted the 2012 Wrangler National Finals. We are continuing with that app. We are continuing in the IT field to try to develop new and interesting things to communicate with our committees and our members. Our member services improvements, online payments. This is interesting as we get into this and get into the payments online. But you'll see that with the payments, we end up actually saving ourselves money with the online payments. The properties department, which is a lifeline of our sponsorships, signed two new sponsors this last year: Wyndham Weaponry and certainly Boot Barn. So we're proud to have those on for the next 3 years. Now, I want to take this opportunity, and we haven't done this before, but I do want to take this opportunity because I know you all know this. I know you know how difficult sponsorships are at times, certainly to acquire. But I'd like to take this opportunity to give you, and then we'll go back to that. We have been working for many years, actually, on a discount program with a fuel provider. And just in the last probably 2 weeks, we have solidified this agreement with Pilot Flying J. It's called a Cowboy Card, and it is a discount card on fuel for everybody in the PRCA. Everybody can apply for a card. There's no fee on the card, and it will provide for you a 5-cent discount on every gallon of diesel fuel that you have, and 3 cents on every gasoline purchase. It's going to be available through every committee member, every member of the PRCA at 5 cents per gallon. And fortunately for us, Jeff Arrington, who is the manager of special projects, is here today, and I'd like him to stand up, and you'd recognize him. Jeff, we really appreciate you being on board, sir. Thank you so much. We have no idea how much fuel this group burns, but we're pretty sure that we might be one of the biggest users per capita than anybody in the world, so we really do appreciate the fact. Yeah, and we do too. But thank you for getting involved in the PRCA. We really do appreciate that. I'm going to go back to that properties slide because I want to talk a little bit about the Champions Challenge. The Champions Challenge, as most of you know, is a new event that is produced really for our television audience. We, in the process of listening to our sponsors over the last couple of years, have asked them specifically what their needs are and what we can do as an organization to help more. And what has developed out of that is a Champions Challenge, which is a built-for-television product, which is and I'm not going to go into all the details because I think most of you have already heard this, but it's a one-header. It is produced separately from your rodeo. It is the top guys in our business and the top stock in our business, and we are going to, as we go forward, produce the best possible event that we can for the opportunity for our sponsors to gain not only new customers, but for professional rodeo to gain new fans. There are several seminars going on, I think, over the next day or so regarding the Champions Challenge. We had, we were scheduled to have 4 before the national finals, and we ended up with 3 because we had a flood in Winnie, Texas, and couldn't participate in Winnie. But we had wonderful experiences on the first 3 of them. There are 6 scheduled for next year in 2014, and we are very excited about the possibilities that we create new audience for the sport of pro rodeo and give our sponsors, which are our lifeline, the opportunity to gain consumers. So if you have questions about that, by the way, if you do have questions afterwards, and not necessarily that you stand up and ask a question, you can certainly do that. But this group of people will be down here in front. Jeff will be down here in front on the fuel program. So if you have individual questions, please come up after, and please ask anything that you would like to ask of our crew. The PRCA Media Department is open. I believe it's 25/8, if I'm not mistaken. But I think one of the great things on this slide, and I'll let you look at those, I don't think you realize what kind of production that this group does in terms of other than the sports news and the things that you obviously see. They are a busy group, and they take their jobs very seriously. One of the things I think that they are, was certainly a great results this year are the 611 rodeos, and that they had covered all 611 rodeos for the first time, all the rodeos. One of the issues that we have with media and print and magazine formats are that you, the world, are not in a position to continue to read those things in paper form. So we are working diligently. Kendra and her group at media are working with Dan Martinez at IT, trying to figure out the cost savings methods to, in fact, move part or all of the sports news, and particularly the business section, onto the website so that it's accessible, but the cost savings of the paper in this world today. Any one of these young men up here can tell you that they've got sports news stuck on the dashboard of a truck somewhere, trying to figure out when they enter and where they're going. But the world's kind of changing on us, and we have to, I think, look at cost savings methods in terms of who we are and what we do at the PRCA. So that's on the agenda for the next year, certainly. And we are, again, working at trying to finally get into the 21st century in all aspects. There is a PRCA press conference on Tuesday, 3 o'clock over at the Thomas and Mack building over there. This is an annual event where our media group gathers certainly the local media, but the Western media. We talk about television and talk about some of the future events that we're going to have. You are absolutely all welcome to attend that if you would like to. The reason why we don't go into too much television here is because that's the first time that the media hears about the future of television over the next year or two, and so that's why we normally don't speak too much about television and that subject. But you are absolutely welcome to attend if, in fact, you're going to be around. We'd love to have you. Member relations, you can see new and renewed permits 2013, 1900. There's the breakdown, rough stock versus timed event. Total members, the PRCA total members, including all the members, 6,960 members. This is another one I could probably spend a half hour, and I probably couldn't cover it all. So I'll let you read through that. But I am going to make the comment that this particular industry outreach, which is Cindy Schonholtz and Julie Jutton, are such an important part of the future of the PRCA. I don't think there's anybody in this room that either hasn't or wouldn't certainly call Cindy Schonholtz on any issues, certainly animal related. They do keep in touch with all of the government situations where they can have some input. They work very closely with Doug Corey. They work very closely with Bob Fox out of California. And to those two gentlemen, thank you for all that you do there. You are a tremendous asset to the PRCA. But the livestock health and welfare, there's nobody better than Cindy Schonholtz, in my opinion, and I think you agree with that deal. The educational process of how we do and what we do at the PRCA, particularly with our youth programs, the PRCA championship rodeo camps and clinics, we have been fortunate enough to have some of you, the committees out there, support that program. We could probably do 2 or 3 a weekend, but we don't have the resources to do that at this point in time. So Julie continues to ask me for money, and I continue to hopefully can give her that, because that's a very important part of what the future of this business looks like. The youth rodeo sponsorships at Little Britches and high school, and the high school people and the Little Britches people have worked tremendously with us. These young men up here, our contestants, give their time and effort during these championship camps and during these sponsorship opportunities to try to entice the next generation of cowboys. I don't think you realize sometimes what the competing members do to try to influence the young people in this world. We need to build more cowboys. I can tell you that, as you can witness by that first slide. The Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund, you're all familiar with that, is the official charity of the PRCA. We're very, very fortunate to have a company like Justin invest the dollars that they have over the past 100 years to try to make sure that those cowboys can stay together. And I forget, Tom Feller and I have talked about this in the past, how many miles of tape that the Justin Sports Medicine uses, but it's a phenomenal amount. So for those two items, Tom Feller and your crew, thank you so much. As we talked about on that first slide or so, 39 new rodeos with less contestants makes for some additional problems that we have. The PROCOM, with the attempt on the 30-hour replacement policy, I think you're familiar with that. Actually, 980 actual replacements were made in 13 as opposed to 912 in 2012. The reentry policy, you can see 1,611 contestants entered and placed in the rodeos. But the walk-up replacement policy, interestingly enough, and this is the first year that we used that, Chris Horton and his crew, 62 actual replacements at 24 of the 87 rodeos that included this policy in their ground rules. It is available to you. If you have questions, Chris will be up here at the end of this at PROCOM So please ask if you can, but it's pretty interesting. But it does go back to the same situation that we talked about earlier. More rodeos, 39 rodeos with less contestants. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that there are some issues there. This is a slide that we put up last year, and I would like to encourage you to look through this slide. So many times when we're out in the marketplace, people will say, hey, we tried to get a hold of, we got an issue with this, and we tried to get a hold of that person, and we tried to get a hold of we called the main switchboard at the PRCA. We didn't get anybody to respond. Believe me, sometimes it's directed straight at me. I understand that. But I will tell you there are opportunities to communicate. There are opportunities to give an opinion. And these really are the avenues that are available. I would like to highlight one, and that's the last one on that page. We talked about this a little bit last year about the grievance process. This grievance process that's set up by the rules and bylaws of this association gives every member of this association an opportunity to disagree with the PRCA. It's not an argument, it's an opportunity. It's just like going through a system that at the end of that system, you are being judged by a jury of your peers. So I would encourage you, if you have a problem with something at the PRCA, then go through the process. If you don't know the process, the first process goes to the rodeo director of rodeo administration, which happens to be Mr. Aaron Inged. If you disagree with that, you can have a second grievance, and that goes to the commissioner's office. And the final is a jury of your peers that stands up and hears all sides of this deal. So if there are issues, take advantage of the situation that you have and look through this deal. Nobody's angry. Nobody gets mad if you go through the process. That's what it's there for, is to clarify and help with decisions that are out there in the field. So please feel free to utilize that. We've had a couple of committees do it on some minor issues, and it's worked out in everybody's favor. So please, if you have an opportunity, or you instead of being angry at the PRCA and wanting to cuss us, use the process. We'd love to see you do that. Rodeo Pay. Ms. Kay Blakely has worked on this for the last 2 or 3 years. As you can see by the bottom of that slide, the board approved that all rodeos will start on Rodeo Pay on April the 1st, 2014. I think there are some questions about Rodeo Pay. I know that Kay is going to have a seminar, a 2-hour seminar today, Kay? Can you, okay, here on ground. So if you do have some questions about Rodeo Pay, rather than asking them of this board up here, the one that knows the most about it is Ms. Kay Blakely, and she is going to have some meetings this afternoon. She also will be up here after the conclusion of the state of the PRCA to answer any questions on Rodeo Pay. We continue to produce an annual report. We have for certainly the last 5 years that this administration's been in place. We did a hard copy annual report about 3 or 4 years ago and found out that the cost was prohibitive to do as many as we had, so we switched it to an online process. You can in fact get a hard copy, but you do have to request one from the office there, and we will certainly continue to produce an annual report. I think it was last year that somebody stopped me in the hallway and said, hey, I read that annual report and all it is a bunch of charts and graphs. Well, that's normally what an annual report is. So I'm going to tell you that this board met yesterday, and we went over the financial statement for 2013, and we looked at this board approved the financial statement for 2013. They approved the budget for 2014. Last year, during this particular session, the board was very direct about what they expected from the financial picture from the PRCA in the future. And we put a very aggressive budget in place in 2013, and I am certainly pleased to tell you that we surpassed that budget this year. And Joe Schaefer is our CFO, and it is his job to count the pennies and to keep us all in check, and he did a great job in 2013. We put a 2014 very aggressive, more aggressive budget in place for 2014, and I am absolutely confident that this group at the PRCA will in fact achieve just exactly what we said we would financially. I know you all get tired of hearing this number, but 88% of the dollars that come in the front door of the PRCA are spent on some kind of a member services program. I'm going to tell you that the independent auditing company that comes in and audits the books for the PRCA is astonished when you start talking about 88%. I think their 5-star rating, which is the highest rating that they have, is somewhere in the 60% range. If 60% of your dollars go back to your member services as an association, that's a 5-star rating, and at 88, we at the PRCA are pretty proud of that number. Interesting slide that we started last year. These statistics come from the Scarborough report. It's a third-party research group that comes in and does the actual research. These are not our numbers. We didn't make them up. We didn't count them on our fingers. These actually came in from the Scarborough report. If you look at 2011, you'll see that Scarborough listed us at 4 million attendees, live attendees. This is PRCA and PRCA only rodeos. In 2012, they gave us a 700,000 contested increase. And in 2013, we grew another 600,000. 1.5 million new attendees the last 2 years. I think that's pretty significant, and the credit goes to you as the committees of the PRCA that produce those great shows that people come and see. So my hat is off to you. We realize the investment dollars and the time that you all have in the sport of pro rodeo. We couldn't do these numbers without great shows that you guys are producing. 17% increase in attendance last year. Pretty big numbers. Again, 5.5 million attendees, 9 million watched us on, watched the Wrangler National Finals on GAC in 2012, and 13.5 million fans watched PRCA rodeo on television. The breakdown in demographics, we went kind of through this last year, and as you can see, we're split pretty close to 50-50 on male-female. If you look at the average, you look at the age demographics, you'll see that 34% 18 to 34 and 37% over 50. Again, 61% of you all are married, 72 of you own your own home, on and on and on and on. But I'm really pleased to say that when we get down there, if Donna Keffler's in the room or Ron Dodger in the room, they're going to see the last two statistics that are on this page. That where the drank a beer in the past 30 days or drank hard liquor in the past 30 days. Last year after this was over, the boys from Red Bluff came up here and wanted to know what they could do to help professional rodeo. So Mike Dudley took it on himself to make sure that those statistics he knew and had and could actually track those statistics. And I'm proud to say that the boys from Red Bluff led the charge. Last year, 52% of you had a beer in 30 days. This year, 62% of you. And last year, 44% drank hard liquor in the last 30 days, and this year, 47%. So Red Bluff, my hat's off to you. You guys are there always for the PRCA when we need a hand. So thanks for your help on that deal. I think this, if you talk to any of these board members up here, you'll find out that they feel like, and certainly this administration feels like, that we are responsible to grow the business of pro rodeo. It is a very serious undertaking, and we talk about it at each and every one of our board meetings. We feel like this administration is challenged every day with running that building at 101 Pro Rodeo Drive in Colorado Springs. We know some of our issues. Some of them don't have very good answers right now, and I don't know if they have in the last 70 years. But I will tell you that that group of people that stood up early, and this group that's standing on this, sitting on this stage right here, are determined to make sure that every day they do something to help the sport of pro rodeo. We couldn't do it without all of the people that are involved in it. We certainly could not do it without our committees. You are the strength of our organization. Without our competing members, without you all, they have no place to go. Without them, you don't have anybody to get on. So I think that the future of this looks like we need to communicate a little bit better. I think that sometimes we get into a position where we don't communicate very well with you. And we are going to make a commitment to make sure that we do a better job of communicating with you. I appreciate you being here this morning. Again, people will be around the front of this, from the board members to the event reps to the staff at the PRCA. I'm going to open up for questions, but thank you very, very much for being here this morning.